The whispering hallway. The shadows stretched long and skeletal fingers across the attic floor, clawing at the feet of our heroine as she made their acquaintance with the dusty trunk. What secrets did it hold? What horrors would it unleash upon the world? And how badly did it smell? These were the questions that plagued her mind as she heaved the heavy chest up the attic stairs. Let's find out the answers to all of these burning questions. Our story begins not with a bang or a whimper, but with a prologue. Something about basements and attics just makes everything worse. Also, foreshadowing. Anyways, this is where we meet our protagonist. She's been having problems in her new home, namely the fact that every single night at precisely 3:17 a.m. she hears a knock, a soft tap, tap, tap. She lives on the 3rd floor, so it couldn't possibly be kids playing about, which rules out those pesky little brats. But it still continues. So naturally, she does what any reasonable person would do and checks the peephole only to find nothing. But it doesn't stop there. One night she hears the tapping, followed by a wet, gurgling giggle. Just to spice things up, she decides to confront whoever or whatever is on the other side of the door, only to be answered with a whispered, "But I live here." Creepy children are bad enough when you can see them. When you can't, well, that's just asking for a nightmare fuel. So of course she does what any reasonable person would do. She stays up late with a phone propped up to record anything that moves, or maybe even breathes. Unsurprisingly, the video catches nothing but the audio, and what a difference that makes, because when the clock strikes 3:17, you can hear her shout in fear, anger really, and then, like clockwork, a child's voice whispers, "But I live here." You can almost feel the malice oozing out of the speakers. This time, though, it isn't the only thing you can hear. Footsteps pad softly across the hallway, growing louder and then stopping right outside her door. Whoever or whatever was out there had stopped to listen, and it liked what it heard because the footsteps receded back down the hall. She may have shrugged off the sound as some overly zealous fan of horror movies, but the discovery of dozens of names scratched into the floorboards under the carpet speaks otherwise. The oldest name dates back almost a century, while the newest is barely a few decades old. All of them seem to be women. Some are only a few years apart. Others are decades long, broken only by the occasional male name, but one name stands out amongst them all: Emily, age 8. Was she the most recent resident, or was she the one who refused to leave? It's hard to say. And why? Why would a bunch of women be living in a building all those years ago? Were they kept there against their will? Did they willingly choose to stay? Oh, and what was that noise? Another scratching sound like fingernails on a chalkboard, except it wasn't a chalkboard. It was the hardwood floor. It didn't take long to find more names, more evidence that the previous tenant was not alone. It seems the entire apartment complex has its own little secret, a whispery, knocky, giggling secret. And since the protagonist can't let sleeping monsters lie, she tears up the rest of the floorboards, desperate for answers. None are forthcoming. She moves out, leaving the mystery unsolved. Perhaps wisely, she doesn't tell the new tenants about their potential house guest. After all, why bother? They'll find out soon enough. Epilogue time. A few days later, the new tenant texts her to ask who the little girl in the hallway is. I love this. Why are they texting? Do they not have a landline? Is this a modern story? Anyways, she doesn't bother to respond. She knows the new tenant won't be staying for long. No one does. The building sucks. And on that note, this concludes our reading. If you enjoyed this tale, please don't forget to show your support. Doing so will unlock exclusive perks such as early access to new content, behind-the-scenes posts, and even the chance to request your own scary stories. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below and join our growing community today. Until next time, happy haunting.